lane by the it's the area where you have the where you give your clothes and all that stuff. What is that called? Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, don't drive over in that area, low area. And a couple of other areas that I know a lot of folks are probably going to say, hey, look, we got these going on. So if you're in an area that you know it's flooding or you see that it's flooding, come on, let me know when. Let me know when. And I will put it out here so that folks won't be coming down like Norman C. Francis over by Tulane in that area because it is flooding over there. So be careful as you are driving, and it's coming down in spurts. All right. All right, let's get down to what I did this weekend. I got to tell y'all what I did this weekend. Oh, my God, what I did this weekend. Well, what you talking about, Gerard? I'm glad y'all asked. Y'all so smart. Y'all so smart. Friday, and I'm probably at some point in time going to have her on, but she'll be talking as the sheriff, not as a candidate. Because we got a millage that is coming up, and I know that Arnie Felco and Carrie want to do a whole bunch of shows, or at least one or two shows about that. So we're trying our best to get the whole crew, not just the sheriff, but I want the CFO, I want chief of staff, and all of them. So I've been walking around the office, buttering them up. Yes, buttering them up. Like, hey, man, what you doing on this day? How's your schedule looking? But they didn't call on because I done told them, I was like, I want you to come do the radio show. Because we need to talk about this millage. Have you all seen, and I want to know what areas of town, y'all can tell me because I need you to know that that's misinformation. I'm glad that I am in the know, but you all have some misinformation that is happening, and I need to clear it up. There are signs that are being put in the neutral ground. They're red and white. And those signs are saying, no new taxes, no new taxes. Say no to the millage. Either two things I see. First thing that I see is somebody spent some money to get those things printed. That's number one. The other thing that I saw in that is that they're breaking the law. Well, why you say that, Gerard? Because anytime that you have a political sign, or you making political signs, whether you're voting for something or voting against something, if you're a PAC, if you're a group, whatever, you have to write on that. You have to write on that sign "paid for by," meaning that whatever the group is had to let them know or let people know that they're the ones that paid for those signs to be up in the neutral ground, on billboards, wherever. They have to put that up. That is the law. That is the state and federal law. And I stopped and took a look at one, and it has none of that information. So the other thing that I tried to figure out, I'm going to give you all my scenarios. You can tell me what you think too. My scenario is that it's either one of the sheriff's opponents, which I hope not, because if it is, that's stupid. Because whether she wins the election or not, you're going to be faced with it as well. Because you're saying no to the millage, and if everybody say no to that millage, guess what? That money goes away. This ain't no new tax. This is the same millage that you just owe. It goes over, I think, 5 to 7 years or 7 to 10 years. And it's up. So guess what? You just vote to renew it. It's not a new tax. So if you're the sheriff or you're not the sheriff, that money go away, you're going to have a struggle. I think that's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $12 to $14 million that you're going to be without as sheriff to operate this jail that now hosts at least 1,500 people. It was built for 900, somewhere between 8 to 900. We're at 1,500. What you gonna do, boo? What you gonna do? What you gonna do with them? All right. So that information that is being put out, distributed on those signs that say no new taxes, that's false information. That is misleading, and I'm hoping that you're not paying attention. That millage needs to be redone. It needs to be saying you need to say yes to it because that's going to be crucial to your safety as well. To your safety as well. And I'm just telling you the truth. Don't believe it, look it up yourself. All right, here's the other one. So, went to church yesterday morning. I know y'all don't think I go to church, but I really do. I go to church every Sunday. I really do. You know, it's pretty bad. You got to convince people that you go to church. I got to convince people that I do go to church, which I do. I do go to church. So I went to the historic St. James AME Church, which is Sheriff Hudson's church. So we went there yesterday morning for Easter resurrection service. How come when you walk in, you know you got to really watch what you say on this radio station because you never know who's listening? Well, and the first thing that came out of one of the parishioners' mouths was, "You ain't wear that seersucker suit you said you was going to wear." How come you said you were going to wear a seersucker suit, but that seersucker suit? I didn't have a chance to go get it. So I couldn't wear it because I didn't have it. But I'm going to get it. I'm still going to get it. I'm going to get me a seersucker suit. I'll let y'all know when it's going to happen. All right? But while we were at church, it was good to see several folks. I got to see my buddy Al. Al Jackson was there. I got the opportunity to see Tanisha Stevens. That's my cousin. The crime commissioner for the city, she was there. And, of course, the message was really good. I got a chance to go to my church, too, at 7:45 in the morning. We're at First Pilgrims Baptist Church with Pastor Eugene Mitchell. He did a great service. A lot of folks showed up. And I'm trying to figure out, with a lot of folks, I'm serious. I'm trying to figure out something with a lot of folks. I guess the first thing that I'm trying to figure out is the number of people that say they need to go to church on Resurrection Sunday. Because y'all know, I'm not being funny, but it's the truth. A lot of us don't go to church except several times a year. That would be Easter, Mother's Day, maybe Father's Day, Christmas, and some of y'all go for New Year's. I thought that was interesting. But the church was packed, and I'm glad to know that a lot of folks went. So we had fun. Here's something else that happened over the weekend. This was a busy weekend. Went to Sankofa's Bayou Fest. Everybody's like, what? Yes. Sankofa. Y'all know Renita? And I didn't even know. Now, I've been here how long? 35 years? And I didn't know that there was a swamp area down in the Lower Ninth Ward. Went down to that festival and had the best time. Well, what'd you do, Gerard? There were several things. I got a chance to talk to a lot of folks, of course. There was a lot of folks that knew about it that did go. A lot of I'm telling you, this is going to be the next big festival in New Orleans. The Bayou Fest. It's going to be the next big one. This is like its beginning stages, and it's right on the water. You not only do you get a chance to just walk around and see all the vendors. They had a DJ out there. They had a brass band. They had all these different agencies that have, green initiatives, STEM for the kids. They had boats that you could kayak in. They also had boats that you could put in the water, and it was like remote control boats for the kids. They showed you all the different ways of how they move water in the city. I mean, it was really nice. Then there was the interesting part. So I'm walking with the sheriff. It looked like I'm always in tow with the sheriff. I'm walking with him. We're talking. And they had horseback riding. Well, before you think that I got on a horse, no, I did not. No, ma'am. No, sir. I did not. No, ma'am, Pam. Did not. But guess who did? I taught Susan Hudson and getting in and getting up on a horse. And she did it. Y'all know I had my camera ready, right? I had my camera ready because I was wondering. I was like, is this horse going to behave itself? That's number one. So, and it did. It did. But I put those pictures up on my Facebook page. If y'all want to go to mine, y'all can go to my Facebook page and check them out. But it was really nice. So that's what we did on Saturday. And then on Friday, so y'all see I'm going backwards from Sunday to Friday. Friday, had to go down to Houma. That's what they said it was, Houma. I know folks from Houma. I've been to Houma most of my life. My daughter and her mama, they from Houma. So I knew how to get to Houma. But this one was not Houma. This was Montague. And I had never been down that part. It's so far down in the Gulf, they got the houses with the stilts on it. That's the average house with stilts on it. I was like, oh my goodness. So that was interesting. Brother Mims.
Hey, Gerard.
What's going on with you?
Listen to me, bro. I'm going to tell you something and believe it. People don't think you go to church because every time they check, I say, check him out. You tell the truth, bro. You being honest. And I want you to know that you're a friend of mine, and I want them to know, I tell them all the time, you can believe me. When you say things, people say, I don't believe that. That don't sound right. Say, man, that's real. And I want to know from my mouth to your ears, that's true, bro. Check it out. You always, they be checking on you, and they say, man, then he told the truth.
Nah,
said,
they don't think I go to church because I cuss so much.
Gerard said it.
They don't think I go to church because I cuss so much, bro.
Yeah, but hey, bro, listen to me. People believing in you, bro, and I thank you. And those out there, this is my friend, and Susan Hudson's my friend. I'm gonna leave here, bro, but I just wanted to say that. I wanted to get on and say to you're truthful, bro. You tell the truth.
We try to anyway. Mm-hmm.
I love you much, bro. You have a great day.
All right, brother, ma'am. Talk to you soon. All right. Do we need to take a break? All right. Because I'm getting folks that are calling me and telling me here too. I'm just passing the word on to the producer / manager / a couple of other things that he do here. Folks online giving something about the radio signal as well. So we'll check that out too. All right. We'll take the break here, y'all. We'll take some more telephone calls because we got some stuff to talk about. Boy, it's going to get rough up in here today. More coming up next. Everybody hold tight right here at WBOK. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
I'm Grant Sashera.
And I'm Ro Brown.
Please join us for the Sports Report, Wednesdays and Fridays.
At 8 p.m. on WBOK.
The Sports Report. WBOK 1230 AM. Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. A couple of things in the news we got to talk about, too. It looked like they caught them folks cheating again by telling each other about all the different war destructive things they're getting ready to do in war. They got on the Signal app again. And they told them not to put him in place for the head of national security, huh? And now they out there and they're like, well, that's not secrets and stuff, but why are you telling somebody that don't make no difference? So everybody that I talked to was important. I'm like, no, you telling your wife in text messages on Signal what they getting ready to bomb. I'm like, no, don't put me in the military right now. That's all right. I'm good with that. That's one. The other thing I had to bring up was there was an article in NOLA.com about the race between the Jean Lafitte mayor and then they called her the Gretna Democrat for the Jefferson Parish Council seat. And I was like, boy, isn't that funny? You can almost see the disdain as they were talking about this article. I'm going to read the article to you, and I want y'all to tell me what you think. And they didn't expect this lady to come out in a runoff at all, but she surprised everybody by getting out there while Ricky Template and the Jean Lafitte mayor were going at it on television and talking bad about each other and trying to get in this runoff. She snuck right on up and down. Right on up and down. So the article itself is talking about Tim Kerner and Miss Andrea Emanuel, which we're going to do probably in the next week or two, invite them both to come up and be a part of our radio show, and let's debate on air. Now, in the meantime, I do have to let folks know that in some of these political races that I know that you're going to want to hear about, which would include the sheriff's race, might be one or two, the mayor's race too, that I know I can't be a part of. Number one, because the manager here ain't going to let me be a part of it because I got to recuse myself of the position that I have with working with the sheriff. And also being a long-time friend of the Woodforks. I've known, I've known Richard Woodfork for 25 plus years, at least 20, 25 years. And I know his daughter, and I know the other daughter, Riri. So I may have to be recused from hosting that one. I don't know yet. We'll get to it when we get to it. So in this article, though, it talks about Miss Andrea Manuel and Timothy Kerner, and it says in here, it was written by Laura Nicholson. Let me read some of this so that you'll hear, especially for the folks. And I want to put something in perspective for you. It says, with Jefferson Parish Council veteran Ricky Templett out of the race for District 1, a small-town mayor, and a little-known Gretna Democrat are now vying for the open seat. The winner will represent a majority-minority district that covers Gretna, Tarrytown, Jean Lafitte, Crown Point, Estelle, Barataria, Grand Isle, and parts of Harvey and Marrero. They will also control millions of dollars in a discretionary fund and sway over local contracts. Templett's bid to return to the parish council ended in the March 29th primary when he got only 28% of the vote and upset the parish leaders who backed him. Templett, a Republican, served the District 1 and at-large seats between 2012 and 2023. Manuel declined an interview and instead sent written responses to a list of questions. Early voting runs from Saturday, April 19th, which just passed, until April the 26th, which is this Saturday. Manuel surprised political pundits March 29th when she emerged as the frontrunner in the primary by a razor-thin margin with 36% of the vote. Mostly flew under the radar, undetected by her opponents before the primary, as Kerner and Templett tore each other up at the political ads and social media posts. She raised about $2,700, about 100th of Templett's war chest of over $230,000, and took out thousands more in loans, according to campaign finance reports. She received no endorsements. Let me say that again. She received no endorsements. Manuel attended candidate forums and media interviews and often responded to questions about policy by saying she'd wait until she's in the role to research and determine the best course of action. Anyone who claims to have all the answers to matters in which they only have partial information is being untruthful, Manuel said in the statement. But with 4 constitutional amendments from Governor Jeff Landry on the ballot, mobilizing Democrats to turn out, and with some voters feeling despondent about the other 2 candidates, she received the boost and the votes necessary to make the runoff, analysts theorize. If elected, Manuel would be the first black council member to represent her district. At 59 years of age, she runs her own consulting firm where she offers services teaching Spanish and life coaching. She's worked as a Spanish teacher at the 4 schools, a child welfare specialist for the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services, and an insurance agent. She grew up in Old Jefferson, graduated from Xavier University. She also studied at Central American Language School and served as a missionary to Venezuela for 2 years. She's received endorsements from 10 black leaders on the local, state, and federal level, including U.S. Congressman Troy Carter, State Senator Royce Duplessis, and Parish Council member Byron Lee. She's also been endorsed by Marion Edwards, a Democrat, the Jefferson Parish Democratic Executive Committee, and Southern Poverty Law Center Action Fund. So when I read that part, it made me stop for a minute. And the reason it made me stop for a minute, because I was going to say, Weren't there some white endorsements too? Not just black endorsements. Oh, I'm just being honest. Weren't there some white people that endorsed her as well? How come they weren't included in this article? I'm just asking. Byron Lee is working closely with Manuel on her campaign, and the two spoke at a church in Marrero together recently. Lee's chief of staff, Pamela Watson, is a consultant for Manuel's campaign. Manuel says if elected, she plans to work with the coalition to restore coastal Louisiana and state congressional delegation to secure funds to mitigate coastal erosion. She hopes to incentivize new businesses and developments on the West Bank, as well as minimize crime by supporting the West Bank Major Crime Task Force and bolstering patrols and equipment at the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. She also said that she'd like to create a committee to provide input on where discretionary dollars should be spent. When asked why voters should choose her over Kerner, she said via email, "I'm not a politician, nor do I come from a political dynasty. Kerner is the third of his family to lead Jean Lafitte and has repeatedly denied claims that it makes him part of a dynasty. As I've been canvassing District 1, constituent state, they are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Residents have indicated that they want someone who is concerned about the needs of all communities, not just specific areas within the district, and not a candidate who has an axe to grind or hidden agenda." Well, now, with that conversation, I think that would make an interesting conversation on the air, don't you think? Let's hear what Tim Kerner had to say, or who he is. Kerner has centered his campaign on distributing money more fairly across the district in an effort to attract young families to the West Bank. He trailed behind Manuel by 74 votes. And right now, too many communities in unincorporated Jefferson Parish are being left behind, Kerner said in an interview. It's a situation where they have had a leader. They haven't had a leader, that is. They hadn't had someone who's truly been their voice, listened to them, and invested their tax dollars and cared about their community. Kerner, who is 34, became mayor of Jean Lafitte in 2020 after winning 95% of his vote in his election against the Democrat. He succeeded his father, Timothy Kerner Sr., who resigned from the position to become a state representative after serving 7 terms as mayor. Kerner also works as an attorney and realtor and serves on the Lafitte Area Independent Levy District Board. His top priorities are allaying the state and federal delegations to elevate the homeowners insurance crisis, repairing neighborhood parks in terrible condition, and expanding our programs like the First-Time Homebuyers Assistance Program to attract young professionals like teachers, firefighters, all to the West Bank. Kerner also said that his experience leading a coastal town will be vital to the district should a hurricane or other districts hit, especially as President Donald Trump ends FEMA grants and considers nixing the agency entirely. Trump issued an executive order in March directing state and local governments to play a more active and significant role in disaster preparation and recover. Let's see. Jennifer Van Rankin and Scott Walker have endorsed him, as well as Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungester, Grand Isle David Carmaldale, and Republican Party of Louisiana. Also, he's a Republican. Van Kranken, who has pitted herself against the rest of the council over a brew pub project in Gretna, has heavily backed Kerner since the start of his campaign. We got a whole lot more that we could talk about with both of them. I think that we should invite both of them to the radio station. And let's have this on the air. Let's talk about it. And then maybe this is an insight, but since you have been the mayor of Jean Lafitte, A good question would be, what have you done for Jean Lafitte? Let's start there. That's a good question to start with. What have you done? I mean, everything is what can you do and what will you do, but what have you done? And we can talk about that. So we'll invite both of them to come and have some conversation with us and get down to the nitty gritty. Well, what else happened, Gerard? Has anybody been paying attention to this issue that seems to be the Carmelo Anthony case out of Texas, Frisco, Texas? This case has gotten to be racial, ugly, and a lot of mistruths. And I'm trying to figure out, when will they get the real information out? From the stabbing, what did he stab him with? Because they said he brought a knife to school. Now it's coming out that he didn't have a knife when he stabbed him. The mother's speaking out because she's getting death threats. And so is the attorney. But I'll tell you more about that in just a few minutes. I'm going to tell you what we got to do. We got to take a break here. We're going to take this break, and we're going to come back. We're going to have some more conversation. We're going to talk about that. And the other story of the day that I got to bring up. What is wrong with one entity of the New Orleans City Council about this trash contract in the French Quarter? Oh, baby, it got ugly. We'll talk about that too. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell is here Thursday through Sunday with Lil Wayne and The Roots, Burner Boy, Gladys Knight, Babyface, Irma Thomas, P.J. Morton, Yusef N'Dour, Big Frida, Tank and the Bangers, Branford Marcellus, Suan Kute and Egypt 80, Bishop Paul S. Morton, Shakima Copeland, and hundreds more. Tickets and information available at nojazzfest.com. Miller Lite, the official sponsor of Jazz Fest.
I'm ready. Let me just grab my bag. Sweatpants, huh? Didn't know we were keeping it casual this month. Yeah, I feel bloated every now and then.
You have to try new Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies. They have prebiotics to nourish good bacteria, probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating, and postbiotics for immune support.
All that in one gummy?
Yep. So no sweatpants next time?
Not anymore.
Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies for gut health support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. Add IBM to the list of companies that's rolling back DEI policies. Bloomberg Equality reporter Jeff Green has been following IBM's DEI retreat over the last several months, and he talked to me about some of the changes they've made dating back to last year.
Compensation was changed so that it no longer relates to DEI goals, and they changed their supplier diversity program to be basically just a supplier program that focused on small business and gave opportunities to a bunch of smaller companies, basically. They disbanded a diversity council that was meant to give advice from the different employee resource groups.
Conservative activist Robbie Starbuck is responsible for pushing a lot of companies to end DEI policies. Green says that Starbuck did make contact with IBM, but the firm actually began making changes long before Starbuck ever reached out. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
WBOK.
Better pay attention.
Powered by Cox Business. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back. Welcome back. When we heard the story the first time, we had started talking about, oh my God, we couldn't believe that this boy had gotten this fight, and I need to start calling him boy. Young man had gotten a fight, and how bad it was because the news had put it out there that this African American young man had gotten a fight with two twin brothers in Frisco, Texas, and he was under a tent at their track meet, and he wasn't supposed to be there, and he was the culprit suspect that pulled out a knife and killed and stabbed this brother of the twin brother, and the other brother had him laying in his arms as he took his last breaths and died. The black guy was the boogeyman. He was terrible. They couldn't believe that he would kill one of those nice boy twins. And I said to myself, something sound wrong with this one. It sound wrong. Then they interviewed the father, and he was like, he's just as nice as he could be. Look, no man wants to hear that his son got killed. That's me too. But now Carmelo Anthony, who is the subject of all of this media attention, because he's the black boy, black young man, who ended up in self-defense, from what we understand, was speaking out and telling everybody, hey, look, y'all need to hear my side. Those two boys were bullying me. Now his mother, Carmelo Anthony's mother, is speaking out, but she's also doing press conferences to let everybody know that she is receiving, or that the family, what's her name, Kayla Hayes? They did a press conference on April the 17th to let everybody know that she's receiving death threats and harassment. On Thursday afternoon, April 17th, during a press conference, Carmelo Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, pleaded with the public through tears to leave her family alone, and they continue to navigate this difficult time. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life, she began. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband works hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we are in a best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure that our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In the wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. On April 2nd, it's alleged that Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf, also 17, during an intense encounter between the two as their rival teams waited out a rain delay during an event at the stadium in Frisco. Anthony admitted to the stabbing and has maintained that he was acting in self-defense. He's charged with murder. In the aftermath of that rainy and awful day, Hayes said that her family has been experiencing widespread harassment, including rumors of death threats, and even putting her home address and the address of her husband's former employer up on the internet, and discrimination. Says, whatever you think happened between Carmelo and Metcalf, my 3 younger children, my husband and I, didn't have anything to do with it and don't deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. Some of the conversation stems from misinformation surrounding the funds from an online fundraiser that was launched for the family and Anthony's legal fees. While some online have claimed that the family is using the funds to buy a new house, the mother cleared the air, stating that the claims are completely false, and as they have yet to receive any money from the fundraiser, the family has expressed in court that they are only considering a move to avoid harassment. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, have been overwhelming, and the lies and other amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in the community. everyone involved in the investigation, from the police and attorneys and the court staff. Hayes said that her 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she fears that it would happen to her. Her husband, whose mental health, she said, is deteriorating day by day, had to take a leave of absence from work for the same reason. So I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before our trial, but our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone else is afforded. Hayes said during the press conference as tears rolled down her face. She explained that Anthony was raised in a two-parent household with structure, stability, and love. We put God first in everything we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of the state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. She also addressed the Metcalf family, stating, "My heart truly goes out to you. And to those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process," she concluded. So, a lot has come out of this. A lot is coming out of this now. And what has been interesting to me is that why are we just now getting portions of the full story? It makes me have questions about the process of how the news media is putting this out. Oh Lord, there he go talking about us again. One of our own constituents is talking about us. No. It makes me ask the question, what story did you put out here? Did you put out the story that everybody wanted to hear, or did you put out the complete truth? I'm asking the question for a reason. Because if you just put out the story that everybody wants to hear, this is probably the reason why they're getting all the death threats. This is probably the reason why they're getting all of the bull crap from y'all. Because these people are hearing, I can tell you what they're hearing. They're just hearing that Carmelo got up underneath that boy's tent at a track meet, wasn't supposed to be up under there, and stabbed him. That's what you're hearing. But he's saying this is self-defense. And now everybody's coming back and saying that the twins were bullies. But is this, and I'm going to ask your opinion on this one because you can tell me too. And I know that the signal may be down from the radio station. We apologize. It has probably a lot to do with the storm that's going on now. But we are live on the internet if you want to check us out on WBOK 1230.com, or you can go to our Facebook page at 1230.com, WBOK 1230.com, and pick us up there. You can also go to my Facebook page because I am sending it to my Facebook page as well. My number to talk about this issue, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. This is disturbing to me because all the false information that's coming is information that is piecemealed. You know what I'm talking about? It's just put together piecemealed. So what do you do about it? You tell what I guess the whole truth is. Well, what is it? There's a lot of information that has not been told about this story. And it could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody. This boy was trying, and I keep calling him boy, you know what I'm saying, this young man. From what we understand, this young man was in self-defense. And the other two boys, young men, were bullying him. Has that been a conversation piece with authorities? What you say, George?
Man, bro, I'm trying to tell you, bro. First of all, you called me out as a heathen. I just want you to know that.
I called you out of the
I
what?
don't appreciate that.
I called you out of the
Huh?
what? I called you out of the what?
As a heathen, bro.
Oh.
I just want you to know that. I appreciate that.
All right.
But moving right along, I saw this story on national news first.
Uh-huh.
And when they went to talking about this story, right, the first thing I heard and seen was a picture of the white boy who got murdered. And that's what they presented.
Right.
Whole and conclusive, bro. No other information. And the next thing you know is that young man's name was thrown all over the place, right? Be damned, he's a juvenile while they, macking him out there.
So you think this was more, and this is good, I think this is a legitimate question I'm probably going to ask everybody. Do you think that has this become more racial than listening to the evidence?
It was made racial right up front because they put the picture of the white boy front prominent and center with his innocent self in the football uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was made racial. You had no choice but to know that it was racial because it talked about nothing else except his murder. His murder, his whole complete name, his, literally family history, twin brother, all that other stuff. That's all they talked about was his murder.
So they gave the whole makeup of the family.
Made sure it was violent.
They gave the makeup of the family, but didn't give the makeup of the story.
Right. None of that.
And they didn't give up the makeup of Carmelo Anthony's family. They never talked about his mother and his father. Her mother said in this story that he was raised in a two-parent household.
None of that.
Interesting.
It's just a murder.
Yeah.
And that's all they meant it to be. That's all they meant it to sound like. And it took a while to start hearing some of the background noise about him being harassed and all of that.
Yep.
Self-defense. None of that was
ever
part of the conversation.
Didn't come until later. So
much later, bro. When I say so much later, I think most black people don't know that it was about self-defense.
No, I'm telling you, this story is like half told. Not all of it's true. So.
Yeah.
But all right, I got to take my break.
Go ahead on, take a break, brother. Yeah, man, you made me out of heathen, bro. I was scared to pick up the phone.
I made you out as a heathen?
Talking about some people go to church on Sunday. Some people only go to church on New Year's Eve.
I'm sorry. Hello?
Some people only. I said, man, stop that, bro.
Well, you know what the old saying is, right?
What's that?
It is the hit dog that holler first. Goodbye.
You know I love listening to WBOK 1230 AM with Gerard G-Man Stevens on the reality check. I don't know who that is on the backboard, bro. Who you got on the backboard? I'm going to miss out on some important black facts I need to know. Love y'all. Keep
all right,
doing
Scooby-Doo. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with 3 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Greg Boyle, founder of Homeboy Industries, says Pope Francis truly lived his message.
He really took seriously what Jesus took seriously, inclusion, nonviolence, unconditional loving kindness, and compassionate acceptance. So we would do well to be as authentic as he was.
Boyle, who started the nation's largest gang intervention program in 1988, urges others to follow the Pope's example of seeing everyone as a child of God. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has launched a citywide effort to tackle budget issues. A new working group is set to review city operations and suggest ways to improve efficiency and boost revenue. And Louisiana, Virginia, and Missouri just reported their first measles cases of the year, all tied to international travel. The growing outbreak raises concern, especially in black communities where death rates are higher due to a lack of vaccination. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
So welcome back. Welcome back. Jason, you've been holding for a minute, brother. Thank you for holding. How you doing?
What's up, G?
What's going on with you?
Man, I'm good, man. I love the conversation, man. I will say this. As a black man, we all know media propaganda is real. And media can make an innocent person look guilty and a guilty person look innocent. And I seen an interview with a big-time exec for a media company say this. We deal with it in the city of New Orleans every week. Whenever LaToya Cantrell just goes out for breakfast, every news station in New Orleans is going to cover her. And if you go on their social media platform, the majority of people that hate her guts don't look like her because they fall for the media propaganda. You get me, G?
Yeah.
And it's real. People don't understand how real it. Like, I tell my teenage son, I had to give him an example. I say, bro, you're a young black man. You got to understand everything that's against you. And I made him sit down and watch the news for a week straight. And I asked him, what do you notice? He said, I noticed every news station start off with a young black man or a young black woman in handcuffs, some type of crime. I say it's propaganda at its best. I say, so when you got a group of people that look at this every day, they're going to sway that way. And these media companies know what they're doing. They know it's about race. They know what they're doing. The way I feel, G, is you keep the people divided so they won't see what we doing. That's all this current president is doing.
So you want to get the real truth. So you want to get the real truth.
You won't get the real truth.
So we call it distractions. Distractions.
That's all it is. G, me and you know everything Trump is doing is trying to save money to get the biggest tax breaks in history to the 1%. That's all he doing. But he uses his media outlet to scare his people. Oh, we deporting everybody. Elon Musk, he's finding all this crooked stuff and firing people. But at the end of the day, G, it's all about what? Rich people getting the tax break.
So,
and
do you ever think that we understand what that tax break is? Could we even imagine what that tax break is?
No, I can't.
I can't either. Know why?
I can't imagine.
Because this is billionaires' business. This don't have nothing to do with us. We mediocre, bruh. We mediocre.
But guess what, G? That's when media comes into play. What happened when he was in office last time and he done this? Every media outlet in America got in line. And, G, if you remember what they said, the trickle-down effect. When corporations save money, they hire more. They're gonna bring in more workers. And, G, did any of that happen?
Bam.
And they about to do it again, G?
I'm about to do it again.
About to do it again.
Yep.
Man, thanks a lot, G. People better wake up.
Better? At least start looking at it. So, because I got another one for you, and then I'm going to bring up. I'm going to really make you mad on this one. So.
I'm going to listen.
Don't drive off the road, bro. Don't drive off the road. It's raining now. Yeah?
You know I'm in this big rig. Thanks a lot, brother.
Hey, bro. All right, 504-582-9422. You got another one, Gerard? Yep, got another one. Let's bring it home. It was interesting to me, and honestly, I can't tell you how disappointed. I'm trying to reach out for him. I'm disappointed because I don't know if anybody Did anybody hear or see the interview that Mr. Redbottoms, J.P. Morrell, did on the other station talking about Troy Henry? And his trash contract? I never knew that a trash contract, picking up our worst, the boo-boo of the city, I never thought that a trash contract would have idiots to just basically go off and lose their mind. I'm trying to reach Troy right now. I'm just letting y'all know I'm trying to get him. I'm gonna try to get him to call in. Because he may not be worried about it to the point where, you know, it's gonna end up probably sounding nonchalant to him. But it made me mad. Not that I'm getting $1, because I'm not. But as a black man, yeah, I'm going there. It made me really just frown, grit my teeth, to listen to this sellout on the other stations that don't have anything there or anybody there that is a host that looks like me and you, to just go in on Troy about a contract for trash because it's the French Quarter. That's number one. Number two, I wish that we, meaning me, you, anybody else that lives in the city that's African American living in a certain area of town, I wish I could get y'all to have that much conversation, that much dialogue, that much issue with services in our city as y'all are worried about that damn contract for trash for the French Quarter. You all act like we are in the Wizard of Oz movie and those streets going down Royal, going down Bourbon, going down any part of those little 13 blocks called the French Quarter are paved of gold. But I wish I could get y'all to have that same attitude to what we have in the Lower Ninth Ward. Oh man, I went down Lazardi Street. I thought I had lost the undercarriage of my car. I yesterday morning at 7:40 in the morning, I was going down and I was getting off of 610 and going to my church. And I said, oh my God, the street. What is wrong with this street? Y'all know what street I'm talking about. Somebody gonna call me and tell me what street. I'm trying not to tell you the street, but y'all know what street I'm talking about. Y'all can call me and tell me what street I'm talking about. I tell you, I go down that street every week and go like, you got to be kidding me. If I had you to be worried about your constituents that you represent, like I got you worried about a daggone trash contract, I might give you some play and say you might have an issue. But you're sitting there telling me that you are so worried about Troy Henry's company that bidded the process, did everything they could, got his vendors, got everybody that he needed to get, went through the process just like Torres did, just like Romelli did, just like everybody else. But just because you don't like Troy, oh, I ain't supposed to tell that. Am I not supposed to tell that part that he don't like Troy Henry? I'm talking about JP. Am I supposed to tell that? Oh, I'm not supposed to tell his name. I'm sorry, JP. I ain't mean to tell everybody that JP Morrell just don't like Troy. Y'all know he got other contracts, so he going through those two. Oh, I ain't supposed to tell that part neither. I'm sorry. I ain't supposed to tell it. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I am not supposed to tell that JP has been going through all the rest of his contracts either. I ain't supposed to tell y'all that. And you're trying to tell me that you are now starting to do videos? Put them on social media? I read a couple of them today, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. But it was so interesting to me to hear some of the comments, because the misinformation is terrible. Y'all do know he got the bid just like everybody else, right? Cantrell ain't do nothing wrong. And now y'all going after Cantrell because she pulled the contract. It's an emergency contract. She has, guess who awards the emergency contracts? The same person that pulled it, the mayor. And y'all mad? Because she pulled it? I know why you're mad, though. And it's not because you mad because she pulled it. So let me tell you the politics in this. Y'all ready? And as they said on In Living Color on here you go. Think about something. The mayor awarded Torres an emergency contract when they went to court, right? So they needed somebody to clean up the French Quarter. So she awarded Torres an emergency contract. That emergency contract was for a year, right? So when does it keep going? Keeps going to the end of the year, right? Guess who's out of office at the end of the year? The mayor. So she wouldn't be able to say, okay, cool, let's go ahead on to do it. Somebody else is going in at the beginning of next year in January, right? Which they think is going to be their beloved. Who's going to then say, okay, cool, we're going to pull that other contract and we're going to award this to you and let you keep on going doing it. Or keep up with the emergency contract. LaToya, Madam Mayor, pulled the contract before the end of the year. Is what? April? She pulled the contract and said, okay, cool, we're going to go with the vendor now. And they all done, they got their panties in a wad. What? You sound like Lil Jon. What? You can't pull an emergency contract. Yes, you can. Read the paperwork. It's an emergency contract. It is not a contract for several years. You got the rest of the city anyway, Torres. Okay, so let me go a different way. Let's go a different way. Which way you going, G? How about if my city council was as worried about this contract when it was Mr. Richards and Jimmy Woods that got their contract pulled? What? Sound like Lil Jon? What? How about if you were as worried for the African-American vendors as you worried about this one? What? Oh, it's not a black-white thing, G. You can't tell me that. Why not? Because before we were talking about, well, y'all worried about this because he didn't follow the right this, he didn't follow the right that, he didn't have the right DBEs. If y'all really want to know, pull the paperwork on Torres' company. His DBE is his 80-some-year-old mama. Hold on, wait a minute. Is that her coming? Y'all don't see her driving that truck? That's terrible. I'm sorry. Exactly. I know who the contracts were pulled by. I said if the city council was so worried about it, why didn't they step up for the 2 African-American vendors that had never had those contracts before, and you all step up for them? The contract was pulled by Cantrell. So if they were really worried about it, how come they didn't step up for them and say, okay, cool, let's do this? If they were really worried about it, how come when the COVID hit and they wanted the emergency garbage contracts because they had 2 or 3 times as much garbage because people were at home and it was not awarded to them, why didn't the city council step up then and say, Madam Mayor, we need to award these men that have this garbage contract this emergency fund because they need to empty the trash 2 and 3 times? They were operating on them. Oh, they were there. They were there. What time of the year you think this was? How far are we past COVID? COVID was what? 2019? 2019, 2020? Yeah. Yeah. Some of them have been there 8 years because they have turned out, like Helena Moreno. If y'all that worried about them, now how come y'all not stepping up for them? Y'all didn't say nothing. And then this information that I was listening to on the other radio station, I was like, they had the audacity to say that they were lawyers. Oh, my God. Don't tell nobody else that. Don't tell nobody else that. Don't tell nobody else that y'all lawyers and you can use the words adjudicate. I was listening to it and saying to myself, that's so bad. That's terrible. So I just sent Troy Henry a message asking him to call me because this latest video that was put out by Mr. Red Bottoms is terrible. And now you're going to go through other contracts because he's in disagreement with you? Wow. Nah. Well, it has come back to me, though, that a couple of people have told me, or how can I put this? The word on the street, not the street, but the street, is that I know who's running against you. Well, here you go. All right, let's take our break. They're like, well, who running against them, G? Who running against them? I never tell it until they get their stuff together. Oh, it's going to be interesting. And I'm trying to talk to them every day. Please do. Please do. Because there's certain folks, I just can't say that, I can't say it. I never say it on the air that I ain't for you. I wouldn't say that. I can't say that, can I? Can I say that? I ain't for you? I can't. No, I can't say that on the air. So, never mind. I never say that I ain't for you because I ain't for you. All right, more coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do every Monday. It's Movie Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to.
All day long.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
A star-studded lineup will unite in support of music education at the 2025 Jazz Heritage Gala on Wednesday, April 23rd at Generations Hall. The gala will feature iconic performances by the Ohio Players, John Clary and the Absolute Monster Gentlemen, Niger Kojo and the Lanyap Section, and more. To celebrate a grand start to Jazz Fest, reserve your tickets at jazzandheritage.org.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at beyondthestagellc.com/campart and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. So, of course, let me go ahead and open up my telephone lines. 504-582-9422. As I look around and I say to myself, all the issues that are going on in this city, is trash one of them? Our trash issues can go back to COVID, but our trash issues can go back before COVID. Let me tell you why. Yeah, Gerard, tell us why. I'm glad y'all asked that question. I'll never forget. And I've told this story so many times, I know it by heart without me having to look at my notes. I'll never forget having the conversation, and I didn't even know Alvin Richards at that time. I did not know him. I didn't know Jimmy. I didn't know Jimmy Woods at all. I was introduced to those gentlemen by somebody that just basically told me and said, man, you need to interview them. I was like, okay, tell me when. And they called me and said, gee, they want to come on the air at this time. I was like, okay. And this was right after Katrina. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I had went to, I had to go to training after Katrina to get my hazmat license. And I did. I got my hazmat certification. So after I got my hazmat certification, it gave me a better understanding of what they were going through as a trash company. Y'all know after Katrina, the grass was gray. There was no green leaves on the trees. somebody was riding around in your neighborhood or whatever it was, I was one of those guys that had on those Tyvek suits. The Tyvek suits, the white suits that had the cover over your head, had to cross your mouth. You had to wear those rubber gloves, and you had to have your arms with duct tape around the wrists and duct tape around your ankles so nothing could penetrate it. Because there was so many different chemicals and stuff that you could breathe in. I was one of those guys that had to do it because I had my hazmat license. Somebody asked me, well, gee, would you do it again? I was like, I don't think I would. No, ma'am. No, sir. I don't think I'd do it again because, number one, I'm not as young as I was. And number two, it was 96 degrees outside, and we could not take those hazmat uniforms off. And the reason why is because you didn't know what you were walking into. You didn't know what you were getting into. So I sat there in the studio when we were on Gentilly Boulevard, and these two gentlemen came up. Very nice gentlemen, very nice man. I got a chance to meet them. They came into the studio, took their seat, got their microphone, and as I was open up the microphone, we were talking, and I was talking to them about what demolition was and what trash was. And they looked at me, and I was like, what's wrong? They were like, we just glad to know that somebody understand it and we had to explain it. So I had explained it. There's a difference between trash and demolition because those trash trucks were going down the streets and picking up trash, but was not picking up the demolition. You know, all of us had taken our carpets out and put them on the side of the road. They put their old chairs and old furniture that had sat in the water. You thought they were going to pick that up and put that in the trash can. Then you go out in the backyard, you got all these different things that had been floating around, all the gas and your little whatchamacallits from the in the shed, all the oil, paint, all of that. You put that out there for them to take that. They couldn't take that either. And so the average person that saw the trash truck going down their street and didn't pick that stuff up, they were pissed. And they were mad at Jimmy, and they were mad at Alvin. And so they were trying to tell them that they needed to get rid of them as the trash vendors. That's what they were telling the city. They were telling Ray Nagin that at that time. So because folks didn't understand it. Now, to tell you the conspiracy that was going on at the same time, they were trying to tell their story, but they didn't have an outlet that was going to reach everybody so everybody couldn't do it. So Jimmy Woods and Alvin Richards went to the newspaper. Y'all can imagine which one I'm talking about. And said, let's take out a full page ad and tell our story. Do y'all know that the newspaper turned them down? That newspaper ad was going to cost them $15,000. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was going to cost them $15,000. And the paper said no. And they were like, why? And they would not explain to them why. But I mean, that's clear as day to me. Your deal is to make money in print. You trying to tell me that they wouldn't even take your money to put an ad in the paper that just basically says, we're the trash companies and we cannot put all the demolition products that we see sitting in front of your yard on the curb in the back of our trucks. We can't. So as I'm sitting there having this conversation with these two gentlemen, I'm in agreement with them. Now, they both looking like, who is this dude? Because I'm in agreement with them. I was like, no, you can't put all this stuff in the back of your trucks. That's not what those trucks are made for. Those trucks are made for trash. Trash includes hazardous, not hazardous materials. What you're talking about is hazard materials. Well, here's the training that I got that's kicking in now, because when we were in those neighborhoods with those Tyvek suits on, we followed up every day in different neighborhoods, street by street, by picking up all of that hazardous material. We didn't pick up your dresser drawers and your refrigerator, none of that. We didn't do that. We picked up the paints, the alcohols, the gases. You'd be surprised on how many people that had them pellets that they shock their pools with. Those were in 5-gallon drums. We had to pick those up. We had to pick up gasoline. Yeah, and then we had to take it back to a yard where we had to separate it and put it in an area for an 18-wheeler that came through the yard every day and picked up all that stuff and took it to some yard to have it incinerated. Y'all would not be happy if you found out how many 18-wheelers that had enclosed containers of 55-gallon drums of hazardous materials rolling through your neighborhood. And they did it. So let me get back to the original part of this, and I'm going to make the reference part to this. So as I'm talking to Jimmy Woods and Alvin Richards, they're looking a little bit more comfortable now because I'm understanding, because I got my hazmat license and I'm understanding what's going on. I said, but why wouldn't they let y'all take out an ad in the paper to explain to the people why you can't pick up all of this stuff? And it came out. Well, we've been getting scrutiny from the day one that we got these contracts, because there hasn't been an African-American company like ours that's big enough to get these trash contracts. Now, Jimmy Woods was telling me all the different things that he and his brother have been doing from day one, from the time that they bought their own truck to get out there and become somebody's sub doing trash and picking up people's trash and doing all this other stuff. He said, gee, I've been through this. I'm not in this just to be in this, man. I'm living this stuff, man. We've been doing this for a long time. I can remember the day that me and my brother bought the truck, and it was our only truck. We were just trying to get a contract as a sub to help somebody out. I said, really? He said, yep. And then if you sit down and have a conversation with Alvin Richards, Alvin Richards used to work at NASA. If you ever hear Mr. Richards break down numbers, I had to have a calculator. Okay, what you said? Wait a minute, hold on. Say that slow. You said if I take this over 3 times with some, he can break down neighborhoods and tell you how much it will cost to pick up trash from one street. He can tell you how many trash cans he can pick up. All right. So I'm listening to him. He said, man, we've been doing this. This ain't nothing new. And we got the company. We just want to get paid right. And then the contract that they had hadn't been updated in years. Okay, here we go. I'm getting there. I just got to tell you all the ins and outs. So I thought that I would see more growth with them, and they basically went through hell and high water just to hold that contract. Every time you turned around, these are the same 2 African-American men that are doing great things and sponsoring everybody's stuff in the community, that are going through scrutiny because somebody don't like this. They don't like this. Even when they got on hard times, even the times when they were picking up more trash cans than they were supposed to. Can't tell me they weren't, because the folks that are calling themselves the OIG got in trucks, got in cars, and followed them on a pickup day. Come to find out, they were picking up more places than they were supposed to and not charging for it because they just want their city clean. And the city wouldn't want to pay them for it. I think it was like $3 million, and they won't pay it. So I'm thinking to myself as I listen to this issue, there was still one vendor that didn't go under any scrutiny, even when there was an investigative reporter by the name of Lee Zurich that was following him around with cameras that showed video of them dumping waste in the back of the bowling alley. Y'all remember that? Or when one of the trucks supposedly got gone from the yard. Or when they were talking about being a vendor, you were supposed to have an office in the city and you didn't. And you weren't supposed to sell your company, and you did. Nobody said a word. The scrutiny that every single town, a city that has 66% African American base, every time that there is somebody with the will, the meaning, and the know-how to put together something for this city, y'all find fault in it, but y'all don't find fault in nobody else. Well, he does a great job. He should be able to do a great job, but y'all trying to make it sound like nobody else can do that great job. Well, we don't have no trucks. Oh, he don't have no trucks. He don't have. Hell, half the people that have contracts with this city, they don't own the issue. They sub it out. We are acting like we don't sub stuff out. What you say, Cedric?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. Listening to you, enjoying it on Facebook from Beaumont, Texas.
All right, then.
Gerard, if you could, man, if it's possible, if we could find out just how much all the two black companies still owed until this very day.
I think they. I think that they squashed that. I'm not certain, but I can almost remember they squashed that. So I don't think that they
okay.
went to the city.
Now, if they squashed it, how much did they have to compromise? It seems like we're living in a day and time where some of us think that other people's ice is colder than ours. Mm-hmm. Not only at one point did the city take the contracts from them, but they paid IV Waste more.
80% more.
And I don't understand that. Lastly, I pray that we, as the citizenry of New Orleans, pay attention to what's happening, man. Because here again, we see at the federal level we don't have no input. We see at the state level we don't have no input. So now, for black leadership and black people to want to give the reins to other folk, we won't have no representation at all. We are we're about to lose the city of New Orleans, and it's that serious.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, man, for allowing me to put my little 1 cent in there. We better wake up, man.
Yeah.
'Cause, I'm beginning to wonder why, or if people like the late great Harriet Tubman didn't come to the city, if all our civil rights leaders would have known where we were at today, would they have made the choice to do what they did?
Mm.
I mean, would Dr. King truly, if he would have went to the mountaintop and saw this, I believe he may have chose differently to live and help his wife change diapers on his grandbabies.
Yes, indeed. But you know what else?
Have a good one.
Let me throw this into too, because it was interesting that this weekend I was riding around this weekend in New Orleans, and I saw where there were red and white signs being put out in the neutral grounds in certain areas of the city that were talking about no new taxes because they don't want this millage. And I'm saying whoever is doing this is doing misinformation, because the millage that's for OPSO, that's not new. That's not new taxes. That's just a renewal. It's just a renewal. And I'm like, who is doing this? I don't know if it's a competitor or if it's just somebody that don't have any sense whatsoever, because whoever is going to be the sheriff in the election will have to go through the same thing. And they're not going to go through this, but they won't have no money. None. Whoever it is.
You know, at the beginning of your show, Gerard, you also talked about the lady that made the runoffs.
Yep.
And now how she has the endorsements.
Yep.
Again, Democratic Party of that parish, of Orleans Parish, of the state of Louisiana, of every parish. This is a time for you to renew, to do what you do to renew confidence from the voting populace to prepare for the midterm elections that are approaching.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Hey, man, thank you. Have a good one, man.
You got it, brother. Talk to you in a minute.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we knew about those. I'm glad that Cedric called in from Beaumont. Thanks for listening. But I got to get to the point where I'm looking around and saying, that ain't all. It looks like to me every time, no matter who in office, because somebody pulling somebody's coattail, but one of us get the means or the resources to be able to compete, you become the boogeyman. Have y'all noticed that? You become the boogeyman. I'm trying to think, what's his name that was the contractor that was doing got the contract to rebuild and do all the remodeling down at the aquarium. Ain't nobody mess with him. He got a construction company, and then all of a sudden he became the boogeyman. They didn't want him to do anything with contracting. And I'm saying to myself, y'all got to be kidding me. All right, coming back. Let's take a break here. We'll take a break and have these conversations because I can see that he's calling in. We're going to talk about him, and we're going to have some conversation here and make sure that this is going to be worthy of being a good conversation. Coming up, we're going to talk with Troy Henry. We're going to talk with him next because I need to get the 411. I know I'm not crazy. Well, let me rephrase that. I might be crazy, but you want to do it now? We can do it now? I don't want to hear about this later on now. I'm going to blame this on you. All right. He said we can do the conversation now. So on the phone with us, Mr. Troy Henry is with us. How you doing, sir?
Hey, G. How you doing, man?
Oh, no, I don't know. You got videos being made about you. You got other radio shows talking about you. I'm like, what did you become? Did you become the boogeyman?
Oh, what they get? A music video? Or what kind of video did I
Nah,
get?
they don't have no rhythm yet. They don't have no rhythm, so no, ain't no rhythm.
Okay.
I just saw the councilman at large, Mr. Redbottom, sitting down having a one-on-one conversation with the camera about how bad of a dude you are because you're telling them misinformation and you don't know the law and you don't have a contract. And I'm like, what?
Well, we all know he's an idiot, and he's an Uncle Tom. He's Steven from Django. And, so we all know that's his perspective. His whole mission in life is to find black people, to talk about black people and go tell it to white people. That's all he does, and that's all he's done. Whether it's me, whether it's Oliver, whether it's the mayor, whether it's Charles Rice, who are the black people that he can find to complain about and go tell white folks, see, I told you they bad people. I'm your only savior black person. That's J.P. Morrell's mission in life. So, it's par for the course, whatever he said.
Well, I was thinking to myself as I was analyzing a little bit because he was on the other station's show with the former sheriff, and I do think that everybody got skeletons in the closet. So it's a little bit concerning to me when I'm looking around and saying to myself and anybody else that's paying attention to this that you're talking about somebody that's not, and I don't think you consider yourself this, a public figure as far as being elected to anything, right?
Correct. Well, I am elected to my homeowners association board.
Okay. That's your right. That's your right. But I'm saying to
That's
myself,
about it, though. That's
as a
the only elected
representative-
office I hold.
Yeah, but as a representative of the city, you're not an elected official for them to be going in on you like this. So this is almost like defamation to me, to you and your character and your company.
Oh, by far. Yeah, by far. I mean, they're doing their best. But, look, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. And that's the beauty of owning WBOK, is the truth. We can get it out. And I just talked to the former sheriff for that other radio station, and I just chewed his ear off. And, so I don't have a problem correcting people when they're spreading misinformation and lies.
Because
And that's all J.P. Morrell knows how to do. So,
but I'm gonna be on your side on this one. I'm gonna let you know he was in on it too.
Oh, I know. That's why I talked to him. I heard a little bit of it, and that's why I confronted him man to man. Unlike J.P. Morrell, who I tried to confront man to man, he ran and hid. Same with the lieutenant governor. I called him up to say, I left him a message saying, let's talk man to man, and he ran. He ain't returned my call yet. So the people that ain't man enough to stand up for what they believe in, usually they're the ones that throw bricks and hide their hands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about that because, you know what I mean, I'm not a punk. I will give Newell credit that at least we had a dialogue and a chance to discuss things, and we can agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, I own the business, so I'm going to run the business the way I think it needs to be run, not the way he thinks my business ought to be run.
Did he correct himself?
Oh, he crabbed a little bit, you know what I mean, and said I didn't say that, or he's characterized it differently. Because I checked him. I was talking about he called me a facilitator, and that's not a compliment, right? I said, what are you talking about? I perform. You know what I mean? I perform.
But as a facilitator, what does he want you to do? He
thinks I'm a broker, and all I do is get a bunch of people together, which is ridiculous.
But even
that's
if
like
you
calling
did,
a general contractor. He's not a general contractor.
But
right?
even if you were the facilitator, what does he want you to do? Get behind the wheel of the truck and drive down Bourbon Street?
Basically, they're saying, oh, you should own everything and do everything. Look, man, I structure my business the way I want to structure my business. 90% of the work that's going to be performed on the French Quarter project, my staff will perform.
Mm-hmm.
10% of it I have subcontracted to Richards Disposal because I think they do an excellent job on the disposal side of things. So why do I need to recreate the wheel? Just because other companies choose to structure their business in a way that they pick up trash, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do all the other services. We clean the streets, we clean the airport, we clean everything. That's where we think the value-added services comes in, not in picking up trash.
Let me
so
ask
that's
this
a
question,
commodity to me that I chose from a business standpoint to not go into.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I can't do the work and do these sanitation services on contracts. I mean, look, man, we just got finished with the Super Bowl. Now, one complaint about the work that we perform during the Super Bowl, we do all of downtown, all of the CBD, and the first block of the French Quarter, nothing but compliments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Nothing but.
Am I wrong into assuming, too, because I think this needs to be stated, this ain't your first rodeo with owning a company that is responsible for the cleanliness of the city. Am I wrong in saying that?
You are absolutely correct. And look, I mean, the main thing is if you look at what we've done at the airport. Is a classic example. Currently, the airport has been voted 4 out of the last 5 years as the cleanest and best airport in America. Okay? That's not by accident. When we got the place and got there, it was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a set of standards and a set of processes that we believe we can apply across the board in a number of different types of circumstances, whether it be an airport, whether it be downtown New Orleans, and whether it be the French Quarter. We believe that those value-added services that we provide and the processes that we implement are best in class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So we do what we do well, and other things we don't try and do. So I don't have to follow Sidney Torres' business model for what he does. And by the way, when I bid against Sidney Torres, I beat him.
And that's the whole process. That is the city process, correct?
He finished third. That's correct. That's the process. He finished third out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
I finished first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't have to kowtow to his way of doing business. You know what I mean? I respect him for his business, but it ain't the only way to skin a cat is what he does, and I believe my way is better, quite frankly. But look, he runs his business his way. Let him keep doing it that way, and I'll keep beating him.
The other part of that, though, that I wanted to ask you about is with this bidding issue. They're making it sound like it's bad to have a subcontractor.
Yes.
Did Torres had a subcontractor?
Of course he did. Of course he did. You know? Of course he did.
So
When
why
he
was
bid
none
he bid a subcontractor? He bid $3 million more per year than any other company that bid on it. The other 5 companies, right? Because he thought he could waltz in there and just kind of wow everybody with his personality. And they looked at him and laughed. And he finished 3rd. Okay?
So why would
That's a fact.
Nungesser actually be discrediting your business by saying on I think it was on DSU that if they don't come back and reconsider this contract, it's going to kill the French Quarter, and he's already had 2 or 3 different businesses saying that they're going to shut their door.
Yeah, well, if you believe that, somebody's got a bridge I got a bridge to sell you. I'll sell you the causeway.
It made me ask the question, then what's on your campaign finance report? And where
Well,
it's
and
coming
you
from?
know that, him and Torres, they just did a commercial together recently. I didn't even know that was allowed, that a lieutenant governor could promote a private business. I didn't know that was ethically allowed. But obviously there's some relationship that is there beyond just, a normal lieutenant governor and business relationship. I think somebody ought to investigate what that looks like ethics-wise. But look, from my standpoint, listen, I won. And if Billy Nungesser had said, I want to make sure that the standards are maintained for whoever's doing it, that's a fair comment for a politician to make. But what he insinuated is because a black firm is now going to be doing it, it can't meet the same standards of what Torres is doing, which is like Torres has this magical pressure washer or this, that only he can do it, right? That's ludicrous. And it reeks of corruption because what you're trying to do is steer a contract towards one company. That's illegal, as far as I know.
Because nobody's talking about Romelli. Nobody's talking about any other contract.
He's saying nobody can do it. Now, I'll bet you if it was Romelli instead of me, they wouldn't be saying that.
Right.
It's a backhanded racist comment. And it's a dog whistle to the uptown folks and the racist folks who want you to believe that a black company who beat the other 5 white companies can't do a superior job than the other 5 white companies. That's essentially what they're trying to say.
And I didn't like the fact that you had your Mr. Red Bottoms himself. Oh, I'm sorry, J.P. Morrell.
Well, I call him J.P. Pinocchio.
Coming out and saying that he will not sign a contract for you if you get the contract.
And that's great because he won't have the opportunity to sign it, as far as I understand it. The courts have already ruled that the council exceeded its authority.
3 times.
And so you don't want, and look, no mayor wants to have a council that now has the authority to overrule them on a contracting process. And that is counter to the Home Rule Charter.
Right.
So the council essentially gave themselves power to overrule the mayor. And that type of power given to the council has to go through a vote of the people, not just 4 city council members sitting around a table saying, let's take power from the mayor and give it to ourselves. That ain't how the democracy works, and it ain't how New Orleans Constitution, known as the Home Rule Charter, works. He knows that. He knows that. I mean, I think he studied law the day he went to law school. He may have missed
said that both
day
of them were having this conversation, he and Newell, and both of them said that, you're a lawyer, I was like, y'all are both lawyers? I was like, wow, don't tell nobody else that. Because that seemed to me to be the wrong information altogether that they both were putting out. So,
yeah, well, it's a concerted effort to do everything they can to pressure the city or someone to intervene on behalf of Sidney Torres. Right? That's all it is. It's a pressure campaign. And the reality is, and what Sidney Torres kind of said in his little, in the interview is that, this is Oliver Thomas behind this.
Yeah.
So it's all black people are corrupt. That whole scenario again. So Oliver, who hasn't taken one position on this yet, all of a sudden now is the puppet master. Whereas J.P. Morrell has been outspoken and advocating for one private company. So has Elena Moreno. They've been outspoken and advocating for one private company, not a set of performance standards of what they want to see in the French Quarter. They want to advocate for one private company. To me, they need to check their finance accounts or their personal finances. From my standpoint, there might be some money passing through somewhere.
Might be.
Might be. I don't know.
Might be. Yep. So, what's next? What you want the folks to know next?
Oh, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. August 1st, we'll start, and we're looking forward to performing.
August the 1st?
J.P. Pinocchio will try all of his theatrics and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, on July 30th, Torres' contract ends. On August 1st, ours will end. Now, he can try and stop us. I don't believe. So far, everything J.P. Pinocchio has taken to court, he has lost. He will continue to lose.
How much
because
money
he knows he is trying to circumvent the Home Rule Charter, and no court in America is going to grant him that.
How much money has he spent in private lawyers, not city attorneys, but
I don't know, but
lawyers?
it's all city money.
It is city money.
It's millions of dollars. I know that much that he's spending. He did the same thing in Charles Rice's case, right? And look, they're trying to usurp the authority of the mayor. And look, I'm an Oliver Thomas supporter, okay? And when Oliver Thomas is the mayor, they want to have a little committee. That's what they're trying to do, is to have this city council be able to overrule the mayor and make him a figurehead. In fact, it's my understanding they asked if some of these uptown people could they pick his CAO. That's the kind of stuff they're trying to do, make the mayor, especially a black mayor, into a puppet.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
So in having a what do you call it, a city manager?
Yeah, city man, all of this craziness that now all of a sudden they want to try. You remember the last one, it was Nord C.
Right.
How'd that work out?
Right. Yeah.
You know, all of these businesses are supposed to give us money. Oh, yeah, how much are they giving?
Nothing. The only
Right?
person, the only
so
company
that's
that gave
all
us
of these
something
little
was
uptown folks
energy.
just experimenting on New Orleans.
Yes, indeed. Well,
So look, the good news is for me, I can't be bought, and I ain't scared of these folks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I own my own radio station, so I can make sure my message gets out there.
yeah.
Right? I own my own businesses, so I ain't worried about a contract being the basis of my existence or not. The companies and that's what fears them and scares them,
Yeah.
is because I can't be bought and owned by one of these folks by having them dangle a contract in front of me. Okay?
Yeah.
We earned that contract, and we're going to perform on it.
Yeah.
But my lifeblood, my family's existence isn't dependent upon that at all. And that's what scares them, because I'm a black man that can't be controlled by them.
But what do you think is this going on with JP? Because from my understanding and talking to some folks that I have in the city hall area, and is this true or not? I'll be the first one to say this is hearsay. I'm not going to sit out here and say this has happened because, you know, they like to sue. I sound like Kendrick Lamar. You know, they like to sue. Is he checking your contracts?
Oh, he already did that.
What?
He already requested, his staff called in to my different clients and customers and wanted copies of the contracts and what kind of performance we're doing. His problem is we got rave reviews, and my contracts are bulletproof. So he ain't smart enough to figure that out. So now he's like, oh, well, let's try and character assassinate him. You know, they try and, discourage you, demonize you, and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? And that's their next tactic. That the problem is I fight back. I went on that other dude on WWL's Scoot show because he had a bunch of stuff that he had heard from J.P. Pinocchio, and by the time I was done, I'd waxed the floor with him. You ain't heard from him since.
Right.
Okay? So I got facts on my side. I got business experience on my side. I don't have to kowtow to none of them. And so they can try to talk about this rumor is this and this innuendo there, but I got the facts on my side. I'm smarter than them, and most cases I'm more successful than them.
You think this is
that
all about
irks
Oliver?
them.
You think this is about Oliver?
Oh, a lot of it is, because they've tried everything they can to besmirch me and paint it on Oliver.
Yeah.
And the problem is every time they try to besmirch me, I come back and show the hypocrisy of what they're doing, and they try the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they tried to get Oliver off the air when he
Right.
was on WBOK talking about there's a conflict. They tried all of these different things to try and muddy up Oliver because they want the little prom queen to be the next mayor. Okay? And we need a real leader, and Oliver Thomas is a real leader. We don't need a prom queen.
All right. Well, I'm just looking for the next fight. I was like, well, how can I so you have tried to make me not get in the fight at all. So
You got to get in, man. Listen, this is for the soul of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And what these folks are trying to do is, and you'll get your little typical, folks who going to always run with the white is right, the white man's ice is colder. But there's no doubt about it. We need a strong African-American leader, and that's Oliver Thomas. He's got the experience. He's got the knowledge. You know what I mean? And Oliver's got nothing to do with my contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. But I know the character of the man, and I'm a supporter of him.
I was going to ask. Oliver was not on any committee.
None. He's not taking a vote. He's not on a committee or nothing. But they're trying to just insinuate, two black people, there must be something corrupt. You know what I mean? Oh, Troy Henry is LaToya Cantrell's friend. Man, I don't even know where LaToya lives. LaToya Cantrell's team made the selection, just like Bayou Phoenix. They said they gave that to me. Man, I won the contract because I was the best of the bidders.
So let me ask you this. Have you noticed, though, and I'm going over the years here, so you may have to think back with me a little bit. It seems to me that all these different contracts that have been, I would say, awarded to folks that don't look like me and you for years.
Yep.
Doesn't it appear that every single time that somebody like yourself comes in and wins a contract in a 66% African American based county, parish, whatever, that you become the boogeyman?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, because they just don't think a black company can be better than a white company. They fundamentally believe that you're less than. So how can Troy Henry beat 5 other white companies for a contract?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something going on, something wrong.
And I was thinking the same thing. I was trying to go over earlier the same thing with Jimmy Woods and Mr. Richards.
Richards, same thing.
With the
same thing. How can they beat these other companies?
Forever they were under scrutiny when they won it. And I'm going back to Ray Nagin, who gave them the original contract. They have been under scrutiny ever since.
Of course. And that's the mantra that they're trying to say is that if a white company wins it, it's business. If a black company wins it, it's a favoritism and corruption. That's the insinuation that they've been making.
Mm-hmm.
And my message is I'll call them out and tell them to their face that I'm better. That's why I won. And they ain't used to that. And look, I'm married to one woman. I don't cheat, so they can't hold that over my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a loyal husband. I'm involved in the community. I'm making investments in my community. My 2 projects in New Orleans East are the 2 largest private investment projects in New Orleans East, the one on Chef and Bayou Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. They also can't believe that one company that I own can have the diverse set of success that we're having. They think we got to be a one-trick pony. Now, John Georges can own a newspaper, and he can own Imperial Trading, and he can own Galatoire's. But for a black man to have a diversified portfolio, that's a problem.
That's
a problem.
That is true. You're not supposed to be diversified.
I'm not supposed to be diversified. I'm supposed to be at their whim where I can be vulnerable to their actions. And I'm smart enough to bulletproof my business.
But I'm surprised, though, that this would end up being this stupid. And the reason why I called it stupid is because this is not your first rodeo with cleaning up the city. I mean, you did all the stuff with the DDD.
Yep. Still doing it.
I remember. I was like, wait a minute. What's wrong with y'all? They've been cleaning up.
But you know what? I don't run commercials
years.
and stuff saying, look at how we're doing in the DDD and all of that stuff. I don't do all of that. We do our jobs, and we let our performance speak for itself.
And
so to act as though we're new at this is crazy.
Mm-hmm. And still doing it.
And still doing it. And still succeeding.
We need to get the word out, though, because from what I'm hearing, that this is just the beginning, and that's what they want to continuously do. Probably try to get as much in public opinion as they can.
They're trying
to raise.
Yeah, they
the
are.
bar.
They are, and And the crazy thing is what's so funny is it appears as though the mayor is just like, I'm the mayor, I made the right decision, and I don't have to justify it to you folks.
So let me go to this part, because this is the part that I was like, okay, cool. So let me put 2 and 2 together, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. First of all, they're upset because she canceled that contract, right?
A temporary contract, a stopgap contract.
It was an emergency contract that she could end at any time.
That is correct.
All right, that's number one. Number two, they thought that contract was going to go all the way through December.
Yes, and the reason they're trying to get it to go through December, they're trying to get it to go through December, whether it's through the legal process or something else, is because they believe that their prom queen will be the next mayor.
And they were going to extend it.
And they were going to extend it, right? That's their approach. Okay? And so now this mayor said, listen, there is no basis, there is no emergency. Any disagreement between Richards and I has been resolved, so there's no reason to extend it. Let the permanent contractor perform the permanent work that they were selected to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would you extend it? You want to fabricate another emergency so that you can keep your friend in? Right? So it's nonsense. And so I agree with the mayor. And if she was on the other foot, if it was Sidney Torres who was the permanent winner and I was the temporary, what do you think they'd be doing?
Opposite.
The exact opposite. The exact opposite. You say, oh, we got to get. In fact, if you remember, when Sidney Torres won, I think it was the Uptown area for just trash pickup. Right? Richards Disposal had the opportunity, still had the ability to extend another option to extend them.
Right.
Richards went to the council and said, if you extend me, I will save over the next 2 years the city $19 million.
Millions. Yep.
And you know what that same Mr. Good Government Efficiency, J.P. Pinocchio
voted
said?
the opposite.
Oh no, a deal's a deal, and Sidney is the one that was won, so he should go in. I don't care if it costs twice as much or $19 million more. Sidney is the winner. But now the shoe's on the other foot. Okay? And with the shoe being on the other foot, now it's like, oh, no, we got to keep him in. He's the temporary guy, and so we got to keep him. As though he's got some magic pressure washer or some magic sweeper and pan that he uses that other companies can't do.
How many blocks of French Quarter? Like 13 blocks? 13?
I don't remember exactly, man.
I think it's like 13.
I think it's about that. I think it's about 13 blocks.
So, but you would think
I think
that
it's
this
16 blocks going in the other direction or something like that.
But you would think that this is the entire city, because my complaint has been, how come nobody's worried about other contracts, asphalt contracts, or cement contracts, or these road contracts where we're talking about $800,000 is what we need because of mismanagement of those $2 billion to fix our city streets, when y'all promised us that y'all were going to fix it, and the city council wanted in on why these streets are not getting fixed. I don't hear anybody talking about that at all.
Well, they're selective in what they make as a priority. This one is a priority because it's Sidney's ego is at stake. And the fact that he's being replaced by my company is a huge blow to his ego.
Oh.
Okay? So you add all of that up together, they're fighting like the Dickens. And I'm loving watching them scramble because at the end of the day, he lost, I won.
And that's what it all comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. And he is trying a backdoor approach to undo his loss.
And that's not going to come. That's not going to come up in any mismanagement form or anything like that through the city council, is it?
I don't understand what you mean.
Meaning, basically, are they going to try to do something that they can undo this contract?
No, they can't. I mean, that's the problem they got. That's why they're trying to, J.P. Pinocchio is trying to, go to the courts and get somebody to stop it. And every time he's taken it to the courts, he's lost. So he's going to the court of public opinion. He's going to probably try and have Billy Nungesser go to the state to take over. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to try and do. Like, the only company that can clean the French Quarter is this company. What they're really saying is any white company, not the black company.
Yeah, that's very discriminatory. And what JP is, maybe he forgot who he is.
No, he knows exactly. He's Steven from Django. He's the worst thing you can have. You know what I mean? He's the worst excuse for a black man. because he'll do more harm to black people than the white people will. And then they'll go report to the white people saying, hey, boss, I hurt the black people. I did what you wanted me to do. Now you approve of me? That's who he is.
And isn't he running again?
He's running again. I sure hope somebody runs against him.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because he's awful. He's awful.
I got to fill you in.
Yeah, I know. I know who the rumor is. and I hope that person does it. I pray that they do it. And I will be 1,000% supporter.
I got $20. I'm going to give him $19.90.
Yes, indeed. And so, yeah. So I'm just hoping that's the case. They got my unilateral 100% support, and it'll be a great deal.
So let me ask you this, and I know I got to let you go. What do you want people to know? Because I know you're saying, look, I'm this guy. This is my company. I went and did everything right. We did everything right, and that's the end of it. But in this court of public opinion, does that matter to you?
Well, look, I'm never. There's a sector of people in New Orleans that will never believe that I can perform. You know what I mean? Because it's just inherent racism that still exists here. There's another group that just believes that the PR spin that Torres has done makes him superior to everybody else, right? But then there's a lot of people that say, well, let's see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why are we so busy trying to make sure that the people that won the contract don't get a chance to perform on the contract?
I think, though, Troy, what I'm putting in here is, well, where are these folks that's supposed to be the activists and believing in what's happening with business in our city? We don't have a whole bunch of black men or black businesses that can get the opportunity to perform when we got billions of dollars rolling through this city.
Yep. And look, G, what I have done is I've been able to create a company that is unique to New Orleans. I'm not a one-trick pony. And we have a commitment to excellence in all of the things that we do, and we execute very successfully. That has not been the case for a lot of businesses for whatever the reasons are here. So the white community wants to typecast every African-American business as the way they've gotten anything they've gotten is through corruption.
Mm-hmm.
My company is putting aside a lot of those types of things because we're performing. And we do a good job. You go to my gas stations, you'll see they're successful. They're good. You go to the airport, you'll see it's the cleanest airport in America, right? You go to my enterprises, and you'll see that we do what we do, okay? That's been in many cases unheard of here. And to a lot of people, that's a threat because I don't want to be the only one. I want us to have 3 dozen of those types of firms here. And we are truly running the economics of the city and not really taking a back seat to someone else on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I may be the first, but I pray that I'm not the last.
Yeah, but you're a threat.
I'm a threat.
Oh,
and I don't mind being a threat. And I ain't scared. Okay? I ain't scared at all.
Yeah.
So, that's me.
Well.
And it's fun. That's why WBOK is what it is, and it's going to get better.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, too, that, that there should be more people that are calling your phone saying, what can we do to help with this? Because it seems to me that, and I'm just on the outside looking in, I just have the privilege that I can pick up the phone and say, can I talk to you on the air about this?
Yep.
But
I've not had one person, whether they like me or not, reach out to me to say, how can I help?
No.
Or I think it's wrong. I have not. And that's okay with me.
No churches.
I don't need somebody to do the lifting and help me fight. I don't mind somebody helping.
No. But I mean, it would be better if you did, because I'm thinking to myself that this fight in public opinion, and no, I don't think that public opinion is going to matter when you got it in black and white and it's the law.
Right.
But I don't like this fight in public opinion because you still do have a lot of those folks that are like, yeah, he don't have trucks. What about this and what about that? And then they are ignorant to the point where. That and I mean that in a respectful way of ignorant of not knowing that
But look, G, I mean, I don't know if the Black Chamber or the NAACP or the Urban League or any of these alleged pro-black organizations, you know what I mean? Look, I believe I'm if not the largest, I'm one of the largest African American owned businesses in the state of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't never had one of them reach out to me and say what they're doing is wrong. How can I help? Not a one.
Well, hopefully they're going to change that, because we're going to start calling some folks.
Yeah, well, and most of them are scared because they get most of their money from these uptown white folks, and they're scared to piss off their little funders.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So look, I'd welcome the assistance, but I'll if I got to go alone, dog, I'll go alone. That's okay with me.
I got you. I understand. I understand. Yeah, sometimes
You know,
gotta walk
I ain't
that
scared.
path
I
by
ain't scared,
yourself.
and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then as soon as you walk that path by yourself and you win, everybody want to jump on and be like, "I knew it."
That's exactly right.
I'm
That's
with
exactly
you though.
right. Look, people in my corner, I know who they are, and it's a handful.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The rest, I don't know where they stand.
we're gonna ask some questions. We'll ask some questions. So don't worry. I'm not gonna interfere with that part of it. I'm not gonna call you up and say, "I called this one, call that one." We're gonna see, but we're gonna
Yeah, we'll
we're
see
gonna
where
do some
they
checking.
stand. I mean, a black company wins a bid, and now is they're trying to deny him the right to perform on the bid that he won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, you want that precedence to get started?
Yeah. Welcome to New Orleans.
Yeah. So we just got to have we got to have some folks with some backbone.
All right. I'm going to leave you alone now. I appreciate you, sir.
No
keep me
problem, bro.
informed, though.
Anytime I'm available. Sorry I was a little
No,
delayed in
I
responding.
appreciate you taking some time, so thanks.
All right, G.
I'll talk to you
Keep
later.
up the good job, man.
Thank you, buddy. Talk to
Okay,
you
bud.
later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. The owner of this radio station, as well as many other companies, as you heard with Henry Consultant, Troy Henry, the CEO. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back more in just a minute, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
AURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. A new book is shedding light on what many insiders feared but wouldn't say publicly, the decline of President Joe Biden's cognitive health and the efforts to conceal it. In the must-read book Fight, authors Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes recount troubling details. Parnes speaking to AURN News.
We talked to people who said Eric Swalwell from California, who comes face to face with him at a congressional picnic at the White House in 2023, so a year before the debate. And Biden, who ran against him in 2020, doesn't recognize him. And Swalwell needs to cue him as to who he is. And there's so many more instances where, he needs a makeup artist who travels with him, who meets him when he travels. All of these things are detailed in the book, but clearly the White House was well aware of this sort of optics problem they had.
For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBOK 12:30 a.m.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go, an Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with 3 things you should know with BIN News. Leaders around the world are mourning the passing of Pope Francis.
Members of the LGBTQ plus community, migrants, people who are impoverished, people who are in prison, those are the ones that he gave God's compassion to.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul, a Roman Catholic, describes Pope Francis as a great man of humility and love for the marginalized. Pope Francis died at 88 from a stroke and heart failure, according to the Vatican. Reverend Al Sharpton says his meeting with Target CEO was productive following the retailer's pullback on diversity efforts. Activists have called for a boycott, linking the move to pressure after Trump ended federal DEI programs. And the University of Kentucky is canceling DEI graduation ceremonies, including those for Black, LGBTQ+, and first-gen students. Officials say the move aligns with a new state law banning DEI programs at public colleges. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell is here Thursday through Sunday with Lil Wayne and The Roots, Burner Boy, Gladys Knight, Babyface, Irma Thomas, PJ Morton, Yusef N'Dour, Big Frida, Tank and the Bangers, Branford Marcellus, Sue Kute and Egypt 80, Bishop Paul S. Morton, Shakima Copeland, and hundreds more. Tickets and information available at NOJazzFest.com. Miller Lite, the official sponsor of Jazz Fest.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Our number 504-582-9422. Joining us for this part of the conversation. I know she had a busy schedule today. Dr. Shepard is on the phone with us. What you say, Doc?
Hey, G. Hey, everybody. What's going on?
You the one. You so busy.
This is true, but so are you.
Would you say this is true?
But so are you.
Yeah, you got me. You got me too. How you feeling though? How's your Easter?
My Easter was good. I went to church. I went to all of the events around in the city. Ashe Cultural Center had something for the kids, so we went there. Mm. And one of my son's friends, he's about to be deployed. So we went to a going away party. He's about to be deployed to Kosovo.
Oh, wow.
So we were out there supporting the family and things like that. And but all in all, we had a good Easter family fun. What about you? How was yours?
Good, good. The sheriff said I need to go to church, so she dragged me to church. She tried to take me up to the pulpit and have them to throw holy water on me, but I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. Mm-mm. But
You didn't want to be embarrassed with it burning.
not to catch church on fire. No, absolutely not. Mm-mm. No, but we went to her church, the historic St. James AME Church off Roman Street. We went over there in North Roman, and then she got me going the whole weekend. We went out to. I did not know about the Bayou Fest, and this is Sankofa, who does all the different planting of the trees and getting all your natural foods and doing all of that food distribution, doing all the work. And they had the Bayou Fest out in the Little Ninth Ward this year. So this is my first time going, and I was like, man, this is wonderful. They had all the different foods, snowballs. They had games for the kids. They had the STEM projects. They had kayaking. And then I did something that I didn't think that she would do, but I got her on a horse. I got the sheriff on a horse.
Go ahead.
And she
Not
rode
the
it.
kayak, though.
No, not the kayak. She was like, nope, you ain't going to get me in that one. But got her on the horse. She rode on the horse. So that
So
was
you
fun.
did the horse?
No. No. I got her on the horse. There's a difference in the two. I got the sheriff on the horse. Not me. No, ma'am. I'm sorry. You said something?
Did you try the kayak?
No, ma'am. No. Mm-mm. What's wrong with you? Something wrong? Mm-hmm.
I just would have wanted to see you try the kayak.
No, ma'am. No. That was enough. She did it good. She did good. That was my job. I did my job.
I knew you was gonna be running all over the city.
Yeah, did that. And then we went to Houma Nation. We went down with the Houma Nation Indians on Friday. So we were down there. I ate so much. You ever just ate so much that you miserable?
Yes.
I did that Friday. They were cooking and boiling and making stuff that you could just eat right then and there. I mean, it was so many crabs, shrimp, sausage, some homemade boudin, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They were making. Let me see, what was it that they made? They were making sweet potato pies out of some type of crust. I don't even know what kind of crust it was, but it was delicious. So I just ate. I was miserable Friday, and I was miserable yesterday because after church, we went to one of her friends' house and went down to Avondale and ate down there too. And let me tell you, the people down in Avondale, I told them I ate so much I was miserable again. And she looked at me. She said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Y'all got me out here talking to myself, just telling myself how I ought to be ashamed of myself eating so much." So I was talking to myself too, on yesterday. So it was a hard ride back because I was ready to go to sleep. So that was my weekend altogether.
This weekend was full of good food.
Full of good food, just full of it. And just hanging out with folks and meeting a lot of new folks. So that was great.
Well, I'm glad that everything went well. I was calling in so that I could tell you about some more great events.
Oh, good. What's the great events?
Okay, really, it's just one big great event. On Friday, Caroline Hunter is coming to Xavier. She's coming on Friday at 12 o'clock. And she's an anti-apartheid activist who helped to lead the divestment movement from South Africa. When she was a young chemist in the 70s, she found out that Polaroid was invested in creating the passbooks during South African apartheid that helped to keep people's mobility restricted. And she and her husband formed the Polaroid Revolutionary Workers Movement.
And this is Caroline who?
Caroline Hunter. She's a Xavier alum. And together they helped to lead the divestment movement. They pushed to get 650 companies to divest from South Africa. She testified before the UN. She testified before Congress, and Polaroid fired her. And she eventually was able to lead the movement that helped to bring down our investments in South African apartheid. And after the fall of apartheid, she went to South Africa and she met with Winnie and Nelson Mandela. And they credited her actions with being important to them bringing down South African apartheid.
And she's coming. She's coming to Xavier.
Yeah. She's going to be at Xavier at 12 o'clock on Friday inside of the University Center on the 3rd floor. And the University Center is like our student union building. So I'm going to just say it one more time in case people are trying to grab pens and pencils. We have Caroline Hunter coming to Xavier University on Friday at 12 o'clock. And she's going to be speaking in the University Center ballroom on the 3rd floor.
On the 3rd floor.
Yes, sir.
And this is for any and everybody, right?
Yes, it's open to the public.
No charge or nothing of that sort.
No charge. The education is free. And she's going to be doing a discussion, a talk, and then she's going to have a discussion. We'll have Q&A and everything like that. And it's really interesting because she's also she's a part of technological innovation, right? When they first started to use I don't want to say the beginning technologies, but when they start using the Polaroid snapshots to be able to be a form of surveillance for Black folk in South Africa. So it's got a material culture, technology component to it. She's been a lifelong activist since her husband Ken passed away. She uses his anniversary. She has a golf tournament, and she takes the money and the proceeds and she donates that for scholarships for students. She uses her birthday party as a personal time for her to adopt an organization every year, and whoever wants to give her presents and stuff can just donate the money to the organizations. She recently went on a trip, maybe in about 2021, to Palestine, and saw more about the international context of racial injustice there. So it's going to be interesting to have her on campus to be able to reflect on her work as an activist and more about the international context of what's going on right now.
Now she was advocating against a major business that had I guess it's a process is being done in South Africa. So I'm trying to figure out now, and this might be a great question to ask her, what type of scrutiny is she going under now with the an administration that believes that folks that are having to do anything with Palestine, having to do anything with Africa, or you're not necessarily pro-America corporation, and she's wearing a button that says the no BS, and I'm gonna say that lightly, BS, no BS boycott Polaroid.
Yes.
Now I wonder what type of information or what she's going through with an administration that's also having a problem with anybody that, think about it. Musk is from South Africa.
Right.
So I wonder what type of, issues that she's going through. And she's calling, the issue of protesting a revolutionary workers' movement.
Right. Also, it's important to say that the very actions that we consider to be noble that she did is what people are being penalized for right now.
Right.
And being deported out of the country for right now. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's going to be a dynamic talk, because she'll give us her perspective on these more current events because of the activism that she did. And she placed her life on the line, really, when she did those things then. And for her to even be able to come and to give us a perspective now means that she's, again, being able to raise her voice against the same systems of oppression. And also it goes to say something about the fact that those systems of oppression are still pertinent now. Like you said, Elon Musk is South African, but not just that he's a South Africaner, more about the fact that his father was a man who supported the Nazis.
Right.
And that Elon Musk grew up at a time when they greeted each other saying Heil Hitler. So it's not just like, oh, you know, he's white and from South Africa. It's more about, well, what does it mean then to have someone who is who in his family is pro-African exploitation, pro-Nazi, who gives the Nazi seeming salute at the inauguration, right? For him to be, I mean, do we want to say he's second in command? Because we've had these conversations before about when his son told Donald Trump to shut his effing mouth, he's not the president. So it's very possible that this man, who is a pro-apartheid, pro-Nazi, that he could possibly be at the realm of power, at the helms of power, at the highest position of power in the United States, not just as the richest man, but as a person that's making these decisions. So I think it's important to have this conversation, which is also why I'm like reaching out to the listeners and telling them that they should be in the building to have her, you know, talk about this and have us to think through it.
One of the things I do have to, you know, kind of go and I'm getting into business a little bit here, so you can tell me how far you can go with this, is who's bringing her here? Is this the university itself, or is this going to be one of the classes of the university? And then does this bringing her to the university to have these conversations also make Xavier feel a little bit uncomfortable, because they're not, you know, it seems to be that the administration, governmental administration, is defunding universities that have some type of activism that the administration does not approve of.
Well, I think that you're asking important questions that also bring with it a level of surveillance that I don't want to disclose everything. Okay, but at the same point in time, I think that this is again showing us the type of environment and terrain that we are in right now, to say that the noble actions that we think she waged then are now considered to be criminal.
Right.
And
That's what you said it in the right dialect, you know, the right words, right wording, criminal. And let's not forget. Well, let's not forget also, and yes, I am talking about it on a national level, but I would have to say let's pay attention to what's going on the local level too, because it looks like the person who's head of the state is also the child of the daggone president. Because I mean, he loves Donald Trump. So is he and his administration paying attention?
I don't even know if he loves Donald Trump. I just think that he has power over him. He was his biggest donor, and they had clips or whatever of President Trump saying, well, Elon Musk just wouldn't leave out of his hotel, right? When he was in Mar-a-Lago.
I'm not even talking about him. I'm talking about your governor.
Oh. Oh, you're talking about other bedfellows.
Okay. I'm talking about he pays attention to it. And let me tell you why I'm bringing this up in that context. We know that not getting those amendments pissed him off. He may act like he's not, but he is. And everybody's paying attention to what just happened Easter. And I don't even think that everybody even understands what happened Easter. But Easter here in New Orleans has always had the tradition of black folks going out there on Lakeshore Drive.
Right.
We like to go out and sit on the lake and sit out there and have our crawfish, listen to some music, sit out there and enjoy it. They sent the police from every agency you could possibly think of. I think it was like at least 30, 40 troopers. You had the levee police. You had the state troopers. You had NOPD and everybody else that doing traffic stops, checking to see if you had your insurance papers, making sure you had your sticker on your windows. I was like, wait a minute. Black folks didn't go. They ended up at City Park.
Yep, I was in City Park.
You went to City Park?
They had a black tennis tournament, a HBCU tennis tournament in City Park, and that was pretty cool. So I was over there with my son, chilling out.
But everybody that usually goes out to the lakefront,
yeah,
they didn't go because they were out there acting a donkey. They had all the police out there doing traffic stops, checking for your to deter you from going.
Yeah, that's called broken windows policing.
It's called
They're
what?
just about to do small, minor infractions in order to be able to stop people to deter crime. So yeah, I mean, we should, in so many ways, the policing apparatus is around controlling the movements of Black people in the city, period. Okay, so that's one thing. But then, yes, two, to the fact that the governor is ramping things up. I mean, that's how we wind up with Troop NOLA and still don't have very clear answers about all of the parameters of how they operate while they don't have to adhere to a consent decree. So extra policing is his love language. And it's going to be the same thing for the Trump administration, because remember what he just said. He wants to take the homegrown
and get them out
send them to El Salvador.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to create pipelines. So I feel like this is the beginning of what we're going to see as the increase in surveillance over the next few years. And it does mean that everybody's going to have to get their paperwork straight or find ways to be able to move in more incognito ways. Also, I mean, like everybody else, Black people still don't want crime in their communities. We still want to get together and not have people shooting and, not wind up with some of the same terrible occurrences that have happened at these festivals recently. But that doesn't mean that we want for every person to be shaken down and for them to be able to abuse people or be violent toward people or to pipeline more people through our system. We always have to say we are the state with one of the highest incarceration rates in the world. And if incarceration worked, then it would work here. We would have the most peaceful city and not what it is that we have. So everybody already knows my idea. We need more money to go into social support for the rest of the city. And obviously from today, we need money to go into infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let me get back on topic here for a minute because that ain't what you called in for. Carolyn Hunter, co-founder of the Polaroid Revolutionary Workers Movement. She's going to be Xavier this Friday?
This Friday, is that the 25th?
Yep.
Okay. This Friday, the 25th at 12 o'clock in the University Center on the 3rd floor. It's called the UC Ballroom. It's on the 3rd floor at Xavier.
And this is going to be a great conversation.
For sure.
And will people get a chance to ask her questions?
So we're going to have the first part of the talk be her just speaking and, telling us what it is that she wants for us to know. Also, if you wanted to know any other information about her, they have, if you just Google her name, so much stuff will come up. You could even Google it and click videos, and there'll be videos of people covering her. She's been covered in books, and she says that almost every month somebody's coming to her doorstep to find out about her story. So you can always Google more about her. It's Caroline Hunter. And she'll be talking, and then toward the end, we'll just open it up for questions.
And you ought to bring her back and bring her over here to the radio station after she's done over there so we can put her on.
You know what? I was thinking about that. I was also wondering if we could. I was thinking about the possibilities. Now, I don't. I know you don't want to be talking on the air about the possibilities, but I was thinking about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. See if she can come over and do some stuff later on. Give her a chance to breathe, get something to eat, and enjoy New Orleans for a few minutes, and then come on over here and lay it out.
Oh, for sure. She's also a New Orleans girl now. She graduated from Xavier Prep and Xavier University.
Okay. Yep. Then she know her way around. She know her way around. Ain't changed that much. Very good. All right, Doc, I know you got to go too. I ain't going to try to keep you here for the whole show because I know you calling in and you got other stuff to do. But we'll keep talking about it up on Friday. I know you'll call me back.
I will. And don't be like that. I always got time for you, G.
Oh, I'm feeling special.
You're important.
Yeah, what kind of special I'm feeling, though? That's the problem. See? Always good, Doc. Thank you very much.
Always. All right. Take care.
I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Dr. Charlotte Shepard. Yes, indeed. There we go. From Xavier University extraordinaire. That's what she is. We'll take our final break of the day, and then we'll come back, wrapping it up, and getting you out of here for another day on tomorrow, and get you ready for the repeat broadcast coming up at 7 o'clock, y'all. More coming up in just a minute, right here on WBOK.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
New Orleans, if you know a young adult or you are a young adult, listen up. This is your chance to level up your future.
Job One's Young Adult Career Expo is going down April 16th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 1307 Oritha Castle Haley Boulevard.
Put on your best outfit, grab your resume, and meet employers from across the city.
Some of them might even hire you on the spot. This is your moment. Get ready with Job One.
Tell a teen, tell a cousin, tell everybody 16 and up. Register now at job1nola.org.
Paid for by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
If someone asks,
Yeah!
let them know you listen to WBOK on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Final few minutes here before we get out of here for Monday. Y'all be watching out for these locations that may have a whole bunch of flooding or rain going on. I don't know if it's still raining out there. I haven't checked in the last minute or two, but I will tell you this. It flooded mighty easy in some parts of the city, so be on the lookout. They're saying that even in Algiers, that some of the pumps went out in Algiers. So you got a widespread flooding event out in Algiers. I'm looking at that right now. So it says the Algiers and New Orleans East stations have pumps out. The city has experienced significant rainfall, with many areas receiving up to 5 to 6 inches of rain in the past hours, leading to localized flooding. So if there's going to be some localized flooding that's going on, you need to know before you experience where you're going and try to find that location within the media. I know all of the television stations, as I'm looking at them, a couple of them are running area flooding advisories across the top of the screens. So in New Orleans East, y'all need to watch where you're going. In Algiers, you need to watch where you're going. I don't know how many times we got to say that, but I'm hoping that a lot of people are hearing me. All right. I'm looking at a couple of flooding places under the General de Gaulle overpass in that area. Where's that near? Terry Parkway. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like they had a lot of water in a short time. So people are stuck trying to get on the bridge. So if you can avoid that area, do so. If you can't avoid that area, do so. All right. We should be able to give you some details tomorrow before you get ready to go and get in your car and go to work and do all those other different things. We should be able to give you details on, how much of this stuff. And I know that the water will go down. They will move it. But one of the things that is bothering me right now about this water is the fact that we also had to open up the Bonnie Carey Spillway to do some testing today. And hopefully that's not going to be an interference, or are we looking at flooding going on because of some of that? Because that water high. I don't care what nobody said. They can look at me and say, well, Gerard, it's not time for you to say that yet. I looked at that water today at some of them canals. That water high. And then you look at the photos of what's happening with the Mississippi River. Let me say it again. That water high. So let's pay attention. We don't want no accidents. And I swear, it's going to sound bad, but it's the truth. And sometimes you have to think about it, because if somebody doesn't say it, it can happen again. Mom, dad, auntie, please watch your kids when they near water. Let me say that again. Mom, dad, auntie, uncle, whoever, watch your kids when they out there playing near the water. Y'all remember last year? Some of our kids walking around that levee fell in the water. Somebody jumped in, a boyfriend jumped in to try to help them. And both of those kids ended up drowning because the water was high. Please, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, whoever, we need to make sure that you are watching these kids if you are around water. All right? I don't know no other way to say it. Watch the kids when they are around water. Here's the other thing too that I don't know why everybody thinks that I'm going to do this, but I got 6 text messages in one day asking me, is Master P coming to discuss this issue with you? He has not agreed to do so as of yet. I have sent his folks the information. And I'm going to just be honest with you, I really don't think that he wants to. He don't like to play politics. I've known P for 30 years. I don't think he wants to. But we got to ask. We got to ask. Now, let me go another way too, because I want to ask him this. Somebody said it was a strategic move to put him in as the operations manager for basketball operations at UNO. I said, I don't think y'all realize something. P gonna go get those kids. Them kids that can play ball, he gonna go get them and bring them to UNO. Why? Because number one, he Master P, and them young men gonna look up to that. Number two, y'all know P used to play pro ball. P got some skills. May not move as fast as he used to with a little age on him, but he got some skills. But he gonna go get those young men. Give him a minute. Just give him a minute. Y'all gonna call me up and say, man, how'd you know? Be like, I can tell you. They respected him, and he gonna go get them and bring them to UNO. UNO about to have a team. With all that controversy that they had before, they about to have another team. Just watch. So we're going to try to get him. I'm hoping that they'll ask and answer me by tomorrow to see if we can get him to come on and have that conversation. We'll see. We shall see. And hopefully we'll have everything straight here at the radio station. We apologize to all of you that were tuned in by the signal, and we lost the signal earlier today. I know that our engineer has been working on it. We'll get it done. We'll get it taken care of. A lot of it probably had to do with the water and this storm that happened, but I don't know. I'm just sitting here making this up as I go. So we'll probably have it fixed for you, hopefully by tomorrow, okay? Other than that, great day. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the conversation. I hope that everybody did their early voting. If you did not, make sure that you do so. And let me go ahead on and say this again. Those signs that you see down in the street saying no new taxes, vote no, that is not the truth. That is misleading and not the truth. This is a millage that this city needs for the jail, for the sheriff's office. And it's just a continual renewal instead of new taxes. That is not the truth. We're going to work on it and see if we can get the sheriff and the staff that's been putting this thing together and see if we can get them to come over and do a conversation piece with you. All right? That's going to wrap things up for me. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the conversation on the day. We will see you tomorrow. Make sure you tell everybody, because I'm still getting a lot of comments from folks that are saying, hey, man, is you gone? I told them it's Justin's fault. It is. It is not. No. Justin's our general manager. Good guy. Very good guy. And he took care of me today because he's in there operating. George, you asked the question. He cut the grass. He emptied the trash. Let me see. He wrote the board. He get your advertising. If y'all want some advertising, too, make sure you call him, too, so he can get you some advertising. At 504-582-9420, right? 20 is the office number. All right. That's going to wrap things up for me. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the show. Thank you, Miss Anita, for tuning in, along with Shannon, Jacqueline, Alicia, everybody. Thank y'all so much for doing so. We will see y'all tomorrow, 4 o'clock, right here at WBOK.
From the campus of Xavier University.